Today we'll be talking about the Netflix hit Adolescence, because everyone's talking about it and everyone bloody loves it because it teaches you some fine life lessons. What did you think, Ian? Because you actually watched it before me. You recommended it to me, didn't you?
More traumatising TV, yeah.
Yeah, traumatising television tales.
Well, it was weird because like you're watching it and then after I watched the whole thing, I just felt like, I could be a better dad, couldn't I? I could always be better. Because it just ends with that thing of where he's like, spoiler at the end, but he, at the end of it, he just goes...
Yeah, because he said he should have done better or something. Yeah, it was, he should have done better.
Yeah, should have done better. And it just made you think But after everything that he'd gone through, it's like, I'm going to be working backwards.
Because that had the biggest impact, because you're dad.
Yeah. But like he said, when he got battered by his dad when he was young and stuff like that, and he said when he became a dad, he was like, I would never do that. He said, I would never do that. But then, even though he'd never abused his child ended up being really bad, like way worse. What was his child name? Jamie, and then what was the dad called again?
I can just remember Stephen Graham, the actor,
all the
time. Eddie.
Yeah. We're not leaving, it's just going to be even worse if we go back to Liverpool. Something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. It was, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's like, even though he killed a girl that obviously wasn't a member of his family, it's interesting that his family were probably suffering more trauma than Jamie from it, because Jamie's behind bars, he's doing his time, he's done the crime, but his family are living out in the real world with the effects of that, with having kids coming and vandalising the van and stuff.
Yeah, when they spray painted notes.
Yeah, because that was 13 months on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
13 months on of him being arrested, so he's in prison.
Yeah.
And people aren't forgetting, he's still...
Yeah, but it does make an impact, it's someone's life, it's disgusting, isn't it, what he did, but shall we start from the beginning then, how it starts?
Yeah, well, first of all, do you even, so obviously they go in, don't they, the police bust the door down.
Yeah.
Ashley Walters does a brilliant job as a cop. So weird after seeing him in Top Boy being a cop.
Yeah. He's gone from being top boy, literal top boy, to being top police officer, hasn't he?
Top cop.
Top cop. Yeah, he's gone from top boy to top cop.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was nice to see because, it just shows he's a good actor really, and he can play different roles.
Got range, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But so they go in, don't they, bust it, and the dad's, at first, I don't know about you, but my thought was, what's the dad done?
Yeah.
I
think it was like a drug dealer or something, he'd been hiding something, because I had no idea
or fraud, but
he needed hide evidence or something. Then I thought, is he? Then when he was arresting the son, I was like, is he son in a gang? And his dad runs the gang, and that's why he's like, don't say nothing, son, don't say nothing.
Yeah, I know, because it was confusing, wasn't it? Because it was as if his dad already knew.
Yeah.
I bet his dad thought he'd been selling weed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a drugs bust, but it was weird because, again, the family were kind of the victims and all this, because you've got the dad who's like, I haven't done nothing.
Yeah.
And then you've got the mum like, what's going on? That was more Brummy. and then they're like, get on the ground. At the girls just go like, alright, I'm getting on the ground.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously they get Jamie, and then he pisses himself, doesn't he? So you just think, this poor kid.
Yeah, what's he been mixed up in?
Yeah. You think he's innocent, don't you, because of the way he looks and his age and everything. But turns out he's a fucking killer.
Well, yeah, so then they go to the police station, don't they? And then it follows the whole... the one shot thing. Just imagine if you messed up, someone messes up the line, right, we gotta do it all over again.
Yeah. The amount of times they must have took those scenes.
Yeah, I think episode 3 apparently took 19 shots or something, 19 redos.
To be fair, that was an intense episode, that was.
Yeah.
That was the most intense episode.
Well, we'll get to that part, so...
Yeah, so still episode 1. You
Yeah.
go to the station and you see
And
that
whose
family.
car is it following at the beginning to the police station?
The police car, because they're saying you should probably get a solicitor.
Oh
aren't
yeah,
they,
he's giving him advice. Yeah, Top Boy's giving him advice, isn't he? Giving
Yeah,
Jamie
after the
advice.
Walters is like, if I were you, would get a solicitor. They're pretty.
Yeah.
So
Don't say anything and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah, don't say anything without a lawyer and stuff.
Because it could be
like
used
that.
as evidence against him.
Yeah, so they did try and explain it well to him. I bet it's hard though because he had a son his age.
Yeah, and when he's talking to him as well, you think, oh, he doesn't really know. Maybe he's just like an in-between thing and nothing's been found guilty or anything. You know, they're just arresting him because of whatever. And then they're going to find evidence later. But no, when they brought him in, and then what was it like in the interrogation room again? It was like they were being
weird and...
they were like talking to him nice, and then they were just being all shitty with him. It's like, why did you do it? Like and then we've got this, and he goes, are these your trainers? And then he was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, so, and then was this you in the camera? Yeah. And then he goes, oh, so then you killed this girl, and then it was like. When all that came out, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because he had the video of him following and behind her when she was just walking down a high
No, they
street,
didn't show the
they?
video straight away, did they?
No.
The dad was like, just tell me the truth. He was like, did you do it? And then he was like, no, didn't he?
Yeah.
When they were on the road.
He was
and
like,
then,
I promise you, Dad, I didn't do it.
And then when they actually go into the thing and then they're talking, he goes, go on, son, tell him. Because the solicitor's like, you don't have to say anything. He's like, no, go on, tell me what you were doing that day. And then when they went into it all, and then before that, the dad says, promise, like, you tell me. And then he actually did it. Like, he actually videoed it.
Yeah, so the guy...
Yeah, and then the son constantly saying, I didn't do anything, Dad, I didn't do anything.
I promise you.
I promise you. Ah.
That was... broke me heart a bit, because I hate when people break promises or they don't take promises seriously, because I'm one of them people who... if you make a promise, you keep it like it's a contract to me.
Yeah.
Not just a word.
Mm.
So, but it was intense, and like once they'd produced that footage as well, the solicitor was like, let's take a break, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was thinking, we need to talk about this and figure out how we can say you did it, or we could plead the mental health route, because he would have discussed it and told him, you know, maybe say this or say that. I mean, I've never been with a solicitor, I've never been accused of bloody murder, so I'm just talking from what I guess expectations, because from work, but I'd imagine obviously the solicitors advising, but also them knowing that even without the CCTV, if Jamie had told the solicitors that he'd done it, the solicitors have to, he can't say I did it, but I don't want to know, so we need to cover it up. Because as soon as you admit to a lawyer, they're gonna go with that. They're not gonna defend you and say you didn't do it.
No, yeah, it's not every lawyer, else you wouldn't get dirty lawyers like what you're
No, but okay, but this is a duty lawyer. This is a
no, because everything's confidential with your lawyer. That's why you hire them. They're hired to get you free. If you tell them that you killed someone, they can't be like, right, then we're gonna.
Yeah, they do. Yes, honestly, do you want me to Google it? Yeah. Okay. I know because my mum's best mate's fella is a lawyer and owns his own law firm.
Whatever you tell between you and your lawyer is confidential.
Apart from what if you've done the crime, they're going to go with that. You can't go back on that. Once you've told them that, that's it. They're going with that. They're just going to find how to get you the least time. The lesser sentence.
I don't know.
It's called, they're actually defence lawyers. We call them, they are of the defence counsel because the person accused is called the defendant. But actually, the better term for him is mitigation. They're the mitigation, not the defence.
Okay, well, show the law then.
If I tell my solicitor I killed someone, will they tell the court or let me plead not guilty? If you tell your solicitor you killed someone, they are bound by client confidentiality and cannot disclose this information to the court
They
unless
cannot.
you give them permission or it's
There you
required
go.
or it is required or permitted by law. However, they
There you go.
cannot mislead the court. So if you plead not guilty, they can only argue that the prosecution hasn't proven guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, not that you are innocent.
There you go.
So they won't say you're innocent. They'll just say, well, that's not enough evidence. That's not enough evidence. So they're not going to say you didn't do it. They're not going to defend you as if you didn't do it.
So they still don't have to tell anyone, no?
They've broken the law. It literally just
It
says.
doesn't. He says they are not bound to. They don't have to tell.
They are bound by client confidentiality and cannot disclose this information in the court unless you give them permission or it is required or permitted by law, and it's the law.
What do you mean it's required or permitted by law? So type in that bit then.
Let me put UK at the end and see if it comes up with anything more specific. In the UK, a solicitor is bound by solicitor-client privilege and cannot disclose your confession to the court or anyone else unless you give permission or there's a legal obligation to do so.
So what's the legal obligation?
What is a lawyer's?
Okay, what is a lawyer's legal obligation to tell the court sensitive information or something like that? Yeah, I thought a lawyer's got your back. That's what I thought.
No. So it says, a criminal lawyer can still defend the client by arguing that the evidence does not prove the elements of the offence beyond reasonable doubt. If the client gives evidence denying guilt or makes a statement claiming their innocence, the solicitor must stop acting for them.
Oh, so if you tell your lawyer you killed someone, the lawyer has to just stop working for you, essentially.
Or they're going to tell the court.
Or tell the court, yeah. Fucking hell. So if your lawyer leaves you, fucking,
you've done it.
You're most likely
that's
done
why
it.
people end up representing themselves because they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because if my lawyer leaves, because if my lawyer leaves, fuck.
I've got to get another one that I need to pay for.
And then how's that going to look on the court? Why did the lawyer leave?
Yeah. So obviously there was no trial with Jamie's case, was there? Because there was that solid evidence, and there still would have been a trial, but he ended up pleading guilty, didn't he?
Yeah.
But had he not, that lawyer would have had to be like, well...
Don't tell me anything.
They would have been like, he would have known there and then wanted
be
footage.
We can't find anyone represent you.
That the video doesn't prove that she was dead when he left the scene. He would have had to say really stupid things to try and defend him. You can't see his face that clearly.
Yeah, well, I was thinking when he admitted to the shoes and that's him on the video camera, I was like, they've got him. I was like, if he just said no comment throughout the whole thing, it could have been like circumstantial maybe. But after the court thing, remember that part, so... Actually, no, I'm probably going to say, where did they catch the knife again, sorry? Oh, so I'm going to forget.
They never found the knife.
They never found the knife, did they?
They were looking for the knife.
No, because the best friend gave the knife to... He said that, but where did the knife go? Did he have the knife? Did he know the knife? Did they... Ask Google, where did the knife... did they find the knife in Adolescence? Did they find the murder weapon?
The knife's never recovered in the show.
Right, so technically, it could have been circumstantial evidence in the end if he'd never admitted to it. Because you only see his face on the camera when he's following her. Oh, but he's wearing the same clothes, of course, though. Yeah. Yeah, so
he also ditched his shoes, so he could have been like, well, me and another lad swapped clothes. I didn't know why he wanted me to swap clothes, but I liked his trainers more than mine, so I just said, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was too much against him, wasn't there? There was so much, there was motive, everything. It was stupid, wasn't it? Yeah.
I'd already asked him about what all this weird shit on his phone was as well, hadn't he?
Yeah. But so what happened after the trial? Oh, when after the court, not the court, after the interrogation or whatever, and then they're like, "Why did you do it?" and all that sort of thing. And then when he just said to his son, and then he just couldn't look at him, he was just looking away like that.
And he was just going, Dad!
And then he was just like, and he was like, I swear he was still saying I didn't do it or something. I think he was still saying it, and he was just looking away.
Me, Dad.
He was just looking away like that. He was like,
Also, that's trauma for the dad. So I was going to come on to this with how they used video as like a big part of issue.
And the family and the rest of the family had never even seen the video. It's only the dad.
No, that's
isn't
what
it?
I mean.
Yeah.
And if there was a trial, anyone who was sat in the courtroom would
So
have
no
seen
one
it,
else had
but
seen that
nobody-
video other than the police and the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the lawyer and Jamie, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the trauma, because he said, like, I still see the video in my head, didn't he?
Yeah,
Still see it in my head. Of course you would. So I thought it was interesting that they used that as a base of something that's fucking someone up mentally, as well as the fact that they say the reason Jamie was like this is because the whole incel culture and toxic masculinity things he was looking at online, doubled with rejection and maybe getting taken the piss out of or bullied at school.
Yeah.
Is what they thought led him to do it, wasn't it?
But it felt like it's just a lack of communication. I think it was, because rather than his dad sort of like talk him through, because the part I noticed was when he said he was ashamed, because like in the therapy part, like when he's with the psychologist or whatever. And then you're finding out about how his dad, and then he was like, "My dad's ashamed of me," and he looks away. Like when I was losing at football, my dad just couldn't look at me, and it was like the same thing as what happened in the interrogation room, and that was like, that was mad, because it was like it was comparing the same. It was like comparing the same moment.
Football match to finding out his son's a murderer.
Yeah, like what that moment was. That's what it felt like for me. That's what I saw, and it was just like the communication part, like because. If whatever is going on, you should be, whether you're happy or whether you're really sad or whatever. I feel like the thing was, is the son just was isolated. He had no examples, and he was just influenced by this incel culture. And any time that he ashamed that his dad was ashamed of him, rather than his dad talking him through it and that sort of stuff, I feel like the thing was he just looked away, wasn't it? And he said he was never sporty or anything either, or anything like that, so he couldn't relate with his dad at all, which probably made him more isolated and stuff. And then he didn't have the right support of friends, and it just felt like he
did have friends though,
but they were also into it though as well.
Incels,
yeah, they were also into the incel thing as well though. So it was just... He had no one around him. He had no proper figure other than his dad, but he couldn't relate with his dad. That was the thing.
Well, the thing is, and I saw a little clip of Stephen saying this, the message he wanted to give out was that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So it's not just the parents, it's not just the friends, it's like everything in between. It's not just one thing that led to him murdering. It's the rejection he felt from society, the rejection he felt from his dad, not feeling man enough because of shit he'd seen on social media.
So he wasn't independent
being rejected
either.
by the girl as well. So it's just loads of different things that built up inside him and turned him into that. But that's what they say about school shooters and stuff, isn't it?
But you can't blame the students for being shot, can you?
No, exactly.
There's always a coulda, woulda, shoulda, because then it's like, oh, well then, why didn't the dad end up like as a criminal and as a horrible person and all that sort of thing? And it's probably because the example had been shown to him. That kid had no examples, because if you think about it, everything that affected that kid that made him do the things then was all online. It was all, none of it was real. It was all in his head. It was all in his head. Like, and even the ashamed thing, it wasn't like close. It was from a distance. You know what I mean? It was like there was no realness. There was no actual to and fro. And this kid's head now, why is my dad ashamed of me? Oh, you know what I mean? Now it's like he's got no to and fro. And then with the incel thing, there's nothing else building on it. He's just a virgin loser. That's the label, and then nothing else gets talked about from it. So then he's spiraling his head even more. It's this communication part.
I think it's not even just the communication. It's because he looked up to his dad as being this masculine man. This, you know, and he didn't feel like he was that.
But the reason his dad was so good was because he didn't want to be anything like his dad. But so like there was no even that. So then it's the opposite's happened. He didn't need that relation. He just needed a really bad example of how not to be, and he'll be the opposite of that. Now, how can the son be the opposite of his dad if his dad's the man? You know what I mean? There's no, you can't rebel against it because then you're even worse, and you can't be that because you can't match it. So then the kid's just lost, which then goes back to then it takes a village to raise a person because everyone's got gaps in the personality. You know what I mean? You can't expect to get everything from one person, so that's why you should have had the right friends and all that sort of stuff. But yeah,
who are the right friends?
Who are the right friends?
Every child thinks their friend is the best friend, the perfect.
And then they'll have gaps in, your friends will have gaps in, so then you can't pour everything into your friends either. So then
it's not till you get older that you realise who the fucking losers were and who you shouldn't have been hanging around with, or the ones your parents warned you about.
That's why it's a pinch of salt with anything and everything. If you get inspired by something, don't fucking have it as gospel. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
That's it. But the thing is, like, I think a lot of young lads are being shown all this stuff. But the thing is, I'm not going to see that because I don't have the algorithm, so...
I see it, but the pinch of salt. It's like, take the inspirational parts out of it and become a better person. Don't digest the video and be like, oh, the world's against me, I need to... You know what I mean? Because then you're just becoming a villain. Like, you can take there's people who have had the worst... Like, there could be two people who have been physically and mentally abused as kids, and one of them will be like a complete saint and a really nice person because of what he's been, and he doesn't want to be anything like that. Another person will inflict that same pain on someone else, because there's that saying, hurt people. But then like some of the best comedians that make people laugh have had horrible childhoods, you know what I mean? So there's always what is the right
flip side?
There's always a flip side. You can always give one rule to something, but then it helps someone else, you know what I mean?
It is interesting, isn't it? But that's a whole thing of psychology, I guess.
The kid had never been through anything actually tough. That's what it was. He'd never had any actual real adversity to progress in.
But no kid has. They just think they have. Like when you're a teenager, you think everything's going to shit because you don't know stress.
You don't know stress, and then you create a stress. Whereas if you go into some fucking tribe in Africa where it's like a really poor part of it, and then they've got nothing, their stress is completely different. You've got a house and everything, so that they don't have to worry about fucking mental illness or autism or ADHD. They don't have the time, or depression, or like there was a saying, I forgot who said it. I think it was Andrew Tate, actually, quite relevant. But he said this funny thing. It was something like people in this country, they've got you can have people with OCD, like I have to press the light switch 5 times. And he says, you go to somewhere where they're like having to fight for their food. You think they're like, no, right, I've got to walk out of my house that has no door 5 times before I go get my water. And that's never on your mind. You've got to, you know what I mean? It's sort of survival, isn't it? Like
you don't have time to think and develop an obsession.
So I think if you bring it down real, there's no real adversity. Like you just if you haven't got any real stress, then you'll create your own stress, and then that becomes a problem itself.
Well, this is slightly going on a tangent, but I think that's what. The thing with schools, I actually think they need to take a step back from education a bit, and they need to, it's not their fault, but they're going to have to undo all the shit they see on social media. So they should have classes about fucking equality and like why you shouldn't treat girls in this way and why girls shouldn't treat men in this way.
Okay,
both ways, but all sat in the same room, not like sex education, which I didn't really have because I went to Catholic school, but they put boys in one, girls in another. Fucking do everything mixed. We don't need to be separated. The men need to learn about women, the women need to learn about men, and now because of all this shit online, everything needs, as sad as it is, it's going to have to be the schools that do it, because they are the ones who kind of have the most power over the kids, because kids, like, it's cool to disrespect your parents now and not listen, and it's cool to not spend time with your family just to be in your room online, and that's what's in. Imagine, like, for me, I spent so much time downstairs in the living room watching TV. I fucking loved when my mum was doing someone's hair in the kitchen. I'd be there, like, doing my homework, listening in, because I just loved the juice. And
Maisie loves the gossip as well.
yeah, but it's nice, and like
It's
to
nice.
be like, not the gossip necessarily, but that is fun. It is nice. Ooh, tea. But yeah, I love that. But if I said that to Lily, maybe now she's getting older, approaching 17, it's different. But if I'd have said that to her 2 years ago, 5 years ago, she would have been like, "What, you want me to come downstairs? I'll come downstairs for me tea. I'm playing online with my mates." And the only TV people seem to watch these days, that is like on mainstream TV, not Netflix, not an app, not a streaming service, is Love Island. I don't hear about anybody watching anything on TV other than Love Island.
Well, it's because nobody really
Below.
watches live TV really, unless you like on about like football or something like that. But like show wise, I don't think anybody watches it at a certain time. So I don't know. Like no, not really.
That's what I mean. It's older generations, isn't it? And even us. But like, we're not Love Island fans. We've said it on podcast before, haven't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I just think that's mental, that's what keeps people gripped. That's what will keep people like on a schedule. Because I went for a meal for my stepbrother's 18th, and all like the 22-year-olds and below, wow, and the 26-year-old who's in a relationship with me, 22-year-old.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
They all fucking left like something like 8:20, 20 to 9, because they were like, "Oh, Love Island starts at 9, got to be back for that." And we're like,
What's your point
you're gonna
with
leave
it?
the fucking birthday meal early because you got to be back to watch Love Island?
But what's your point with this? Sorry, what's like?
I've gone on a tangent a bit, I'll be real, but originally it was just saying about like getting the younger generation to spend time with the family is difficult because they're not it's not cool, so therefore they don't really interact with the parents unless they're going on holiday or something. And that's why I think it's up to schools to try and undo all the crap and manipulation that's affected kids' minds on social media.
I think it's just like logic sessions. Like we used to have like RE, and we all used to, and sometimes in RE lessons we all used to sit in a circle, and then we used to talk about like current stuff and like just like it used to just be like a thought, like a brainstorming session. Everyone used to just talk, and we used to just be in this circle and just talk with each other about stuff.
Which is good, isn't it?
Like dead weird, and that's what I like. I feel like those sort of things like help.
Yeah, you don't have to relate.
Well, it's just challenging each other's ideas and then just bringing logic into things and just like sort of like where can we all meet in the middle, like those sort of things. Really, I think probably benefit everyone because then like you'll get people who don't talk to each other talking because they'll have different views, and it's like, right, well, what do you think? Or, you know, there needs to be more of those. I think that's probably out. Without people, like how can you have a conversation and disagree with someone? But then still can't.
But it's then a debate. Isn't it?
Yeah, but then it turns into an argument, and then it's.
No, but it doesn't. That's why.
But it does for a lot of people. Though, that's the point. So then, if this like Jamie, like or what was the boy called? Is it Jamie?
Jamie.
Jamie. If Jamie had this like different point of view, and then someone else did, like what that psychologist did was very, very fucking clever. So in the next episode, like when he gets arrested and all that sort of stuff, and then
He's done the interview. Yeah. It's weird, the custody thing, because I'm not quite sure if he's in youth offenders or like a mental.
No, it's
institute.
it's a youth offenders and they're fucking fighting each other in there and
Yeah,
stuff
that's
like
why
that.
I was a bit confused if it was like.
And you see him on the camera, it's like, yeah, fucking battered, doesn't he? I think that's him getting battered. Or is he battering someone else? There's a camera bit of where he's fighting.
I can't remember that bit. But...
Yeah, but then like.
I think he is in a fight, but I don't think he gets battered.
But there's in the psychologist, like, she does it dead clever, so like, and he thinks that he's playing tricks on it just because she's not like entertaining any of his like any of his questions. She's just sort of going, oh, okay, why then? Why do you feel that? And he's like, oh, you're just trying to make me talk like that though, those are weird questions. And it's like, oh, okay, and if you think they're weird, we can talk about something else, and then goes back and then fucking loops back into it again. And people, I feel like the point I'm making is that people need to learn to have those sort of conversations, like just like sort of picking each other's heads and views and stuff. Like, I think I've said it before, like, people like, they'll come in after work and they're like, oh, I haven't got the energy. And then as soon as they've got an answer or they want to interrupt you because they've got the right thing to say, oh, they've got the energy all of a sudden. And then as soon as you make a point and then they don't have any points in their head, then they're like, then you just go, well, then they just go, oh, shut up, oh, don't matter, forget it. Like, it's like, or, oh, shut the fuck up, and then he goes into insulting and stuff, and it's like, no, why, like, you should have an answer for stuff, or try to explore it, or try to compromise and meet someone in the middle. Why does someone think that?
And she does keep saying, like, we can end this at any point, go if you want.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
And she did get it out of him, and he kept insulting her and fucking towering over him.
That made me jump, that did, when he went, ah!
Yeah. He was a little twat, and he was like, oh, and then when she was getting to him, like when she was trying to find something out, and then he was insulting her.
Because he threw the chair.
And then he was insulting her. He was like, what, you were scared of a 13-year-old? And then she was like, just sort of moved past it, and then sort of kept going, oh, okay, and then like that sort of thing, and just. And then she ended up asking it again. Then he fucking talked, and he actually explained, and he actually said what was going on in his head and everything. That's after she'd gone out the room,
they want it, because then she was
and
like...
then she puts the folder down and fucking gets it all the stuff out.
Let me see it.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
You're not reading it. Let me see my file.
Yeah. No.
These are my notes.
Yeah.
But no, she left the room, didn't she, because he threw his hot chocolate, and then he was like, oh, could I have another hot chocolate?
Yeah, but the reason he's getting angry, and the point I was making is, people get dead angry when you're having debates with them because they're just like, nothing else said. They're like, well, no.
Are you judging me?
You're judging me? What? That's racist. That's it. And it's like, oh fuck, like what? And that's what Jamie was doing. But then she persisted. And she kept going, and then eventually he just fucking pulls his heart out. And then, as you say, that horrible bit that he says because they go for the social media, so they go for the social media part first,
sex and stuff.
Yeah, and then just find out he's an incel.
Are you allowed to ask me these questions?
Yeah. And then
you're supposed to be asking me these questions.
Yeah, and then
because he made him feel uncomfortable, and that's the thing. Whenever he was on the back foot and felt uncomfortable, that's when he get angry or aggressive.
Or start lying.
I've got to control this situation.
Yeah. But she fucking persisted. Because if that was me, I would have been about like, whoa. It would have shocked me. You know what I mean? Like
100%. I would have just left then and been like, right, I'm done eating.
Yeah, but fucking props to the character, because she fucking.
Bryony.
She fucking just stayed put and gave him half a sandwich, like, even though he didn't like that sandwich, and it was loads of little things that she took control of that room, and then so then they go through the social media, don't they? And then finds out why he's an incel. The girl had actually been bullying him online, saying he's an incel, blah blah. And then he did a fucking evil fucking thing, and fucking that his mate got a picture of her without a top on, and then he spread it.
No, he didn't spread it.
No, his mate had spread it or something.
To everyone in the school.
And then her reputation went down, and then he played an evil thing and was being dead nice to her and everything, and then she called him just bullied him to make herself feel better. And then the cop, what's his name? Top Boy, what's the...
Ashley Walters, the actual name.
Yeah. So the cop then, he was like, this place is savage. And then
Dr. Luke,
yeah, and
not
then the
Dr. D.I. D.I. Luke Bascombe.
Yeah, so D.I. Luke, yeah, with the woman, and they're like, these kids are savages. And then she was like, what did she say? It stinks of piss or something,
Yeah.
or puke or something.
Yeah, no, she was like, did she say something like something about sweaty or like?
Yeah, she's like the smell. It's like stinksy.
Yeah, and then she was like, and all that Andrew Tate shit or whatever she said.
Yeah, and that Andrew Tate shit.
Funny character she was.
Yeah. But yeah, so then you find out that the reason is like this because the pent up stuff, as we explained earlier with the incel stuff. But she did that. But then the savagery comes in.
Yeah.
He bullied her, then she got bullied, and then to stop herself from getting bullied, then she just carried on bullying him. And then it was like, what the fuck? These kids are savages. And then you find out that the police are the reason that the D.I. Luke found out was because his son had showed him and told him, and then he'd been inspired and stuff like that. So then, but like he didn't full-heartedly believe it, obviously. So he was a bit of a pinch of salt. But he was a loser as well, so he was more leaning into the thing.
I feel sorry for him though, because really he was only a loser because his dad was a cop, and that was what he got.
Yeah, so everyone bullied him because his dad was a cop. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't really your typical incel character, was he? Tall, good.
Yeah. So he was leaning into the incel thing, but he wasn't like.
He was just like, take it on the chin. It's just fucking screwed.
But and then he says this stuff does happen though, and then he like I think he's even someone's like, oh, you don't understand, and then like that sort of thing, and then his dad felt dead guilty, which is why he was gonna give him go. Oh, should we go to the chippy and that? But the point being is the savagery part of social media. So then next,
he then says about why, that he murdered her, doesn't he? He admits that he's done it. And then he says, but most lads would have done loads of stuff to a body afterwards. I didn't. That's what he said, didn't he?
That was...
That he justified killing her because he didn't fucking rape the body.
Yeah, like, dude, like that's got to count for something. And then what's he say? And then, oh, you're my best friend, aren't you? And then, we need more time. And then he goes, you better not tell anyone. And then how his mouth like flips like that. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. And that was his first time acting as well. That scene was he did that episode first, and that like what the fuck. I was like,
Cooper.
Yeah, and then like remember talking to Benito about it, and Benito was like, yeah, but he was like all the coulda, woulda, shoulda things that you could have done. He says that kid was probably still evil. That kid was probably still evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, that you can't say there was any there was no remorse. He never admitted to his dad what he'd done. And he never said sorry, did he? Oh my God! What doesn't she say? Would you want to say sorry for murdering? They do in the interrogation room. Do you want to say sorry for murdering her?
Do you want to let the family know?
Yeah. Completely forgot about that part. Yeah, and he doesn't say anything, does he? I didn't do it. Yeah. That's what that if someone's not showing any remorse for it and there's complete plain evidence and they're still lying, I think we could have said all these things about what we mentioned earlier, but what it takes a village raise and all this sort of stuff, and we've contradicted it with the dad, and I think that kid might have just been fucking evil.
Well, perhaps so, you never know, do you?
But do you think that evil people can still exist in society but tamed? Like, with guidance or whatever.
Yeah, you just need a therapist.
You just, and like someone who we know. As long as he's got a therapist to like say, no, those thoughts are bad. Yeah,
that's it. And you still know right from wrong, really, don't you?
Yeah. I think the whole point is that you are not impulsive. I think that's the whole point. So you are still that person deep down. But you don't act on it. But you don't act on it, so if anything, you're probably a better person if you think about it. What was that thing that we said about the week? Something, what was that Jordan Peterson quote about the week? Can you find it or can you Google it?
Sure.
Yeah, but these are all people that these are the people that incels worship though. Jordan Peterson and like Andrew Tate
Is it
and
on
stuff.
evil?
You are.
Sorry, what's a quote about?
It's Jordan Peterson, weak man quote, but it's all about being a monster or something.
Is it a harmless man is not a good man?
Yeah.
A good man is a very, very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control.
Yeah. So you can't say that, oh, I'm a good person. It's like, you're a good person because you can't do any bad. That doesn't mean you're good, because then if you could do, then who knows, you know what I mean? So that's the point. Like, I forgot what fucking point was.
Not having evil in him, and can you ever get that out?
Yeah, and can you ever get that out? Yeah, but, yeah, so he'd know that. So he could have been a strong man in the end, but he's fucking...
Well, going back to like the interrogation, and the dad's seen the CCTV, and Jamie's still saying he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
And at first the dad can't look at him, but then he does end up.
He hugs him like.
If you were in that situation, do you think you could? If that was Maisie, do you think you could hug her after?
Doesn't he say, "What have you done? What have you done?
What have you done,
What
son?"
have you done?" And that's when you're looking away in there. Yeah. I'd be like, you need to tell me why, and you need to admit to it. And
You
if
couldn't
you
just hug her.
no, I'd be like, you need to tell me why, you need to admit to it, and you need to tell me why it's wrong. And
why you think it was right?
I need to say why you. I need to say why you need to tell me why you did it. I need to tell you. I need you to admit to it. I need you to admit to it. I need you to tell me why it's wrong. I need you to tell me why you think why. I need you to justify it for me, and I need you to tell me why it's bad. I need you to give me all angles on this. So as a full scope person.
Would you make her apologise to the family?
Yeah, and I'd make her apologise to the family and everything.
Write a letter.
Like,
or something.
yeah, and you need all you. Ask, how am I gonna have a relationship with you if you're still fucking lying through your teeth? Like, you know what I mean? It's no.
Turns the whole perception.
Yeah.
Around.
Yeah, but like, but then they've still killed someone. But I'd still need him to say all that fuck to me. I'd have to, because it's fucked. I don't get how he could carry on talking to his son after his son's still.
The worst thing is, so if he'd have like punched the girl once and she'd hit the ground, smacked her head and died, I would have felt a lot more sympathy for him than stabbing her however many times he stabbed her.
That sort of intent, and to bring the knife out as well. So
you went out there with the whole plan of doing it. You stalked her.
Yeah.
Then you murdered her.
Yeah.
You had the weapon. It wasn't impulsive. It was calculated.
So it is just pure evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then.
But it would have been impulsive if he just bumped into it.
Yeah, but then what about those people that have been like sent to prison for murder and then they're completely like changed people and then they come out and stuff like that?
Well, that's what prison's for, and to make you think
reform,
a lot. Yeah. You have the therapy, you have group therapy, you work on yourself, and all you do is think in there, really. There's take your mind off things when you're allowed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and if you're in another country, it's a lot fucking worse, isn't it? Britain, we're kind of lenient in our prison systems, but...
Yeah, we're allowed cattles, aren't we?
yeah, fucking hell, it's ridiculous.
And then the last episode when they're driving around in the van and it's his birthday, and then like the same kid that bullied Adam, the D.I. Luke's son,
Fredo or whatever
is the same kid who spray painted notes on the side of his van on his birthday, and then he shook him up and he was like, "You don't know what I've been through," and he just chucks him, and then he chucks his bike.
I always hate when people chuck a bike because it never damages the
It
bike.
doesn't do it.
It
What
makes
do
you
you
look a bit
expect?
crazy, doesn't it?
What do you expect to happen when you chuck the bike? It's like,
Why don't you just take the bike? I said to Benito, we were watching it, I would just take that
Don't
bike.
go anywhere!
Why are you coming fast?
Why are you coming fast?
Don't go anywhere.
What does he do when he throws the bike?
He just shouts, "Leave my family alone!"
What?
Oh wait, are we on about the...
When he comes round the corner and he's fixing a car.
He's like, why are you coming fast, bloke? He goes, You hit me, and then my head hit the car. Is it bleeding? That's the funniest video on the internet, I think.
Yeah.
Every time I see it,
he picks up the bike, doesn't he, and then just goes like against the wall. What's he expecting him?
It's going to rebound and hit your car and do more damage to your car than it will to that bike.
Yeah.
Although the bike was expensive.
But then he walks off, but then the kid runs off, and I'm like, mate, but why wouldn't you go get your bike? He just runs off. It's like your bike. You just left your bike.
Oh.
But then so the kids aren't going to come back because he does that whole speech saying we're not going to Liverpool and we're not leaving and all that sort of stuff.
And the daughter says there's no point in moving because someone else will find out. And just have it there.
And he literally just squashed it down by fucking throwing the paint over the van, causing a scene like, don't fuck with me. I've got nothing to do with this.
That killed me a little bit because I was.
What he was going through.
Yeah, because he shouldn't. He wasted 35 quid on
Why
that.
did he get Dulux fucking paint rather than a spray can? What was it? How was he expecting to do his van? You don't know what? You're thinking normal paint's gonna. No, get spray paint. Oh my god.
I mean, I don't work in the car factory, but I think they do use sprayers. They normally file it down to metal.
Yeah, and then he's spending ages fucking washing the van as well. It's like it's not gonna come up. Right, so someone used spray paint on your van, and you're gonna use normal paint to cover it. Why would you think of using spray paint to cover the spray paint?
I actually think if he'd have got some acetone, he could have got it off the van, but it might have removed the underneath as well. But that's better, just to have just take the whole.
Yeah, but that would have taken ages. I've used acetone before when I went to the sign company. You've got to have the squeegee as well. You got to go take all the bits off and stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's cheaper. It's cheaper, isn't it?
A black spray can would have been cheaper. You should have just done that.
Yeah, when it was blue, the van was that bluey colour, wasn't it?
Yeah, but anyway, the whole thing, what he was going through for the van, it was his birthday, and then he was talking, and he was dead stressed.
He'll probably get fined for criminal damage.
Yeah, no, he was shouting it about. Why are you still on about the foot? No, yes.
He could have done because he did damage.
Oh, you want about when he was throwing the paint on
there was
the
paint
car park?
everywhere all over the car park, wasn't there? And security were like, "You want to clean that up?"
And then he was fucking squaring up to him, and then it was like, oh god.
Don't fucking. What did you say? Don't fucking touch me, or
I don't know. He was just
you're
squaring.
fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Security guard weirdo and stuff, and it was pure anger. And then the mum was crying, and the daughter felt that shit.
Yeah, and he was just dead shouty that whole episode, and I was like, oh, is that how he is? All the time, and then I meant to Benito about it, and it was like no, because it was just all the stress, and then the thing on the van and everything. Yeah. So yeah, that was that was dead bad.
He couldn't speak, could he, when his son pleaded guilty?
Yeah.
But do you think that was because?
And then his son says happy birthday, and then he's just dead quiet, and then he just says.
It's not because he says happy birthday. It's because he was talking to him on the phone.
Yeah, and then he's just because he's just about to say thank you.
No. So
at the end, he says thank you.
So they're talking on the phone, saying happy birthday and what presents have you had, and he's telling him about the breakfast and not telling him about the paint thing.
Yeah.
Telling him, oh, your sister wants Chinese and stuff like that, and he's like, oh, you're ordering prawn whatever, and then he's like, you know the order, lad, and then he goes, Dad, I know it's your birthday, and I know it's not the best time to be telling you this, but I'm going to change my plea. And that's when Dad goes silent.
I'm going to change my plea, not even Dad, I did do it. Yeah, it's still another thing. Oh yeah, and then he said, I just can't believe it that he's still not even. I know he's saying guilty, which implies he ever did it, but even then he didn't even say, Dad, I know it's your birthday, but I'll admit to you, I actually did it. It's more of a dive. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that part, but yeah.
He still hasn't said the words, I did it.
Yeah, I did it, yeah.
To his dad anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's so gutting, and then I've already said the ending right at the beginning of the podcast, I just realised. So yeah, it's a massive emotional roller coaster, and it changed my outlook of being a dad. It's like just try and communicate with your kids as much as possible and find out what they're doing, find out what they're thinking.
Do you know what else was crazy though? What we haven't mentioned, and I don't think anybody has.
Yeah.
The kids in the school were like laughing that the peer had died, and like they weren't concerned at all.
Oh
that
no,
she'd
no, it was
been
the best
murdered.
friend who was being dead aggressive, and then she punched one of the Jamie's friend as well, didn't she?
I think she did.
She
Yeah,
punched him in the
that
face.
Was a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
People were just
And then that's when you
like-
find out he had the murder weapon. He gave him the murder weapon, and that's why he ran away and stuff. But yeah, it's all messed up and stuff. I forgot what my point was now.
I just think it's crazy that that's like half normal to a kid, because if I was in school and somebody in my year or somebody in the school had been murdered by another person in my year, I think the school would be a bit quiet. I think everyone would be a bit shocked.
Yeah, but and then but no, the savagery was still
yeah,
going.
it was like, ooh, tea. It's like,
Yeah.
this is interesting. They didn't give a shit that someone had been murdered. They didn't give a shit that someone had been arrested. It was all like fucking Waterloo Road for them, wasn't it? It was, yeah, which I thought was absolutely appalling, because the fact that that's how kids can view murder these days, or think so little.
Yeah, but some of them were
life.
gutted though.
Who?
The best friend was.
Yeah, the best friend, because she's lost her best friend. She's a loner now, isn't she? She's got no one to hang around
Oh
with.
yeah, she even said I had no friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sort of
And then it goes back to the isolation thing, which is what I was talking about, and then, yeah. Fucking hell. Have we missed any other points?
No, that's everything really.
But yeah, I think just communicate with your kids more, find out what they're thinking, and if you can't relate, or if you can't relate to kids, or you disagree with a lot, have that conversation disagreeing with someone. Like you know what I mean? Like, it's just being updated.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess big up to all the producers, and I wrote a little list, because obviously it was Stephen Graham, Ashley Walters, Hannah Walters, who is Stephen's wife and has a company called Matriarch Productions.
Wait. So his wife was the wife in the.
No. One of the producers.
Oh,
Not the
okay.
actor, sorry.
For it. Oh, okay.
Jack Thorne, who's done a fair few good bits, and Brad Pitt's production company, Plan B Entertainment, also worked on it.
Oh,
And a
I
Sheffield
didn't know.
company
I didn't know
called
Brad Pitt. I didn't know Brad Pitt owned Plan B Productions. They're the ones who did Dirty Harry, or what is it called? Is it Dirty Harry, or Old Harry, or Harry? What's it called?
I know what you're on about, but yeah.
Is that old man that kills all the chavs?
Yeah. So.
No, fair play. No, well, it was amazing. It was really good. I didn't mind being traumatized by this one, because
It was worth it.
it was
made you
worth
think.
it. It was worth it. Made me think, and yeah.
It's real life scenarios, and
Yeah, I
plus
suppose,
that
yeah.
claustrophobic bloody single shot camera.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
made you
it
follow.
It was.
like you were
That
involved.
was entertaining. It wasn't. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
So that's
incredible. Thanks for watching, guys. Let us know if you've watched Adolescence and your take on it. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to like, follow us and subscribe, and leave a 5-star review on Spotify. Bye!